How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from a wonderful, amazing artist. I really love their work, and that is, probably going to say this wrong, bear with me, Demizu Posuka. And his work is just wonderful. I mean, look at this stuff. It's so full of life. He really has that sense of an animator's illustrator, where there's a sense of movement to all of his stuff, a sense of personality, that sense of expression. And I really like his style. That mix of pen, I'm not sure if it's pen or if it's digital ink, mixed with like a light watercolor or just a light opacity on his stuff. It's just gorgeous, wonderful stuff. I really love this piece. He's really got a vivid imagination and a wonderful sense of composition, and color choices are just spot on. And just this simple bowl of ramen, the perspective that he has here, the showing not as much detail in the background, and then just an intense amount of detail right up front. And the layout's really nice. The angles that just lead the eye right to the main point. A really well done piece. I love that stuff. So I urge you guys to check out more of his stuff. I think it's gorgeous. I wanted to find a particular piece that really, this one's gorgeous too. It really led me to his stuff here, was this one. I thought this was an amazing, amazing piece right here. It's like a pop-up book that's a real world that he flips through, and that's just such a wonderful idea. So playful, and something that I remember the first time I saw this piece, it was just really gorgeous idea, and a great implementation of the idea as well. I love the lighting and the color and just everything about this piece. I think it's one of my favorites that we've been able to share together in quite some time. Just a gorgeous piece. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I believe English isn't his primary language, so I had to translate this one, and I wasn't able to find any interviews, but this comes from his Twitter, which I'll link down below. He said, "You do not win in sleepiness," and I love that quote because there's so much to it. There's you don't win in sleepiness, and when you're tired, you're not going to produce your best work. There's also the you don't win in sleepiness is when you're sleeping, you're not working, and you can't possibly succeed then. So, it's about, this is something that I've been trying to suss out in myself in my own life, is when I feel like I've gotten a really good night's sleep, or I sleep a little more than I typically have, I tend to be full and energized and ready to go. But I think there's that counterbalance too of if you sleep, like let's say I'll sleep 9 hours versus 6 hours, in the 6 hours, that's 3 more hours that I could be working or learning or growing or expanding my mind or doing something and pushing and growing. So I think it's kind of an ebb and flow thing. But let me know what you guys think, because I think sleep is an important thing to try and get a good grip on for the creative world as well. Because if you burn out too much, you're not going to produce good work. And if you sleep too much, you're not going to have time to produce too much good work either. So it's kind of a yin and yang place there. So wonderful stuff. I love his work. I urge you guys to go off and check out his stuff. I believe it's he. I could be wrong. Let me know, comments down below. I'll throw all the links down below. The work speaks for itself. It's lovely. It's gorgeous. It's marvelous. So let's go ahead and get into some animation. We're going to be continuing on with this sword attack that we've been working on for the last couple of days. I think this will probably be the last day we spend on it, even though we could probably spend another couple of days. Just move on to a different idea here, because I think just polishing for another couple of hours might not be as interesting, just visually. And if you're not familiar with what we've been doing, check out the last couple of videos, part 1 through 4. This is part 5, I believe we're on tonight. And we're just building the sword attack animation. Let's play it here real quick, just so you can see where we're at. Now, nothing really stands out to me too much as it's broken right now, so what I really want to do is, again, there's definitely things that we could polish up, but nothing's really sticking out to me that needs to be addressed right away. So what I want to do is really get into doing some more facial expressions. I don't think we really hit that up. Maybe hit up the shoulders. I don't think we did an extra polish pass to make sure they're not locked in too much throughout there. But yeah, so I think that's where we'll go from there. We are using the Goon rig. It is from the How to Cheat in Maya book. So it's not a free rig, unlike most of the ones that we feature here on the channel, but I find it's one of my favorites that's a pretty low cost to entry. I think the book's only like 15-20 bucks. And you get this rig, and there's a couple other rigs, but I personally have enjoyed using this one as far as low cost rigs go. I think it's one of the best out there. And I'll throw a link down below in the description for that as well. But I'm getting rambly, so let's go ahead and start animating here. So like I said, for this one we're really just going to focus on facial expressions and getting some acting beats in the face. I'm gonna consciously try to avoid doing too much with the eyes themselves, not necessarily the eyelids and the shape of the eye, which we can see from far away, but up close the iris itself would take a lot of passes on there and a good amount of time where I don't know that the investment would come across for what we're doing here. But if it was something that I was gonna try and put out as a finished animation, I would definitely do, you know, an extra hour or so just on those to make sure they're tracking and sitting on the eyelid correctly and everything too. We'll still try to build in some of those strong poses, but I'm not going to be as worried about that, so keep that in mind while we're working. And yeah, so let's go ahead and play. So I feel like this pose, this first facial expression, could be pushed a little bit more. I feel like the eyelids themselves are not that great. So let's make them a little more intense here. We don't want to make them feel sleepy either. Now, what's nice about some other rigs that this one doesn't have is that you can shape the eyelid as well, which would be kind of nice to have here. So we could accentuate it over the pupil, but that's okay. So I feel like that's all right. Maybe a little bit lower in the jaw here to start with, and a little bit up and down on the teeth. It's going to still have the same feeling behind it, but a little more grit in the teeth. Close the mouth a little bit more. And let's take the lips and we'll shape them a little bit more here too. Just try and get a little bit better facial expression out of here if we can. Push this one down a little bit more. Just keep tweaking until it comes something a little bit better. I still think there's a little to be desired from the facial expressions in this rig. Body mechanics wise, it works really great, but facial expression wise, I think it's a little lacking. Not as much as I'd like to be able to do here. And bring that back a little bit. Maybe bring that down and bring that back up. Yeah, I think from the side that works a little better. Maybe push those eyelids down just a little bit more. Push that cheek down and over a little bit. Push that one over, puff it out a little bit. So we get a little bit of drag here, squash and stretch there. tweaking this. Get something a little bit better. That's a little more intense of an expression here. So, let's grab everything here. And we'll group all of that there. Just create a group there, and we'll set everything. That first one. We'll go ahead and set that. Delete this. You'll need to about there. I think that one's okay. Take this and bring it back to about there. Have to redo the jaw again, I guess, but that's okay. I'll have to do another blink in there. So I want to hold this first expression a little bit more. Let's bring that back to there. Take that and bring it this way. Okay, so let's see. Looks like I don't know. That's okay. That one, delete this. Don't know if I like that. Go ahead and key that one there. I'm just trying to simplify everything for right now. Yeah, we know we like this, so I'll delete that, that, that. Just come down to a couple facial expressions for right now. We've got this one. We've got that one. Let's see now. Okay, and now we'll hold this first pose for a little bit longer. And we'll hold this one for a little bit longer here. And we'll get into that one a little bit sooner. And we'll hold it for a little bit longer here. So let's take a look at that now. I think we might need a couple more frames before we get there, so let's go there and let's see. Set that, delete this one, give me 2 more frames to get there. Now let's see. It's a little too slow, so. And we'll cut a frame from there. Alright, so let's see. intense here. So we'll hold that a little bit sooner. I can go back to there again, but I want to hold this up for a little bit longer here. Still hold that a little bit tighter. We'll hold that for a couple more frames here. So you can get more of a change there rather than just a gradual move. Let's see. And hold that for about 2 more frames. Let's bring that blink about 2 frames sooner. And we'll hold that first initial stuff for a little bit longer. Actually, let's hold that all the way to about here. Delete that, delete that, delete that. Let's look right now. Okay, we want that to be a lot sooner and a lot quicker here. Could hold it for 1 more frame here, so we'll keep those eyelids closed a little bit more. 1 more frame to get out of that. Let's see it now. Tense looking, blink. And then we'll hold this for a few more frames. Actually, we'll just hold this pretty much until the blink again. Let's see. There we go. Okay. And I think we should probably hold this for maybe 2 more frames. Yeah, let's look at it now. Push that blink a couple frames sooner. And it moves too slow from there, so I want to hold that for a couple more frames. Look at the upper lid here. I think we can hold it down a little bit more. Let's see it now. sleepiness. I think we need more upper lid down. Not that much. And more lower lid down. Because the upper lid should lead, it shouldn't be. Let's get the eyebrows to work about the same timing as the face a little bit more, or the eyes here. So they should be about 2 frames later. Set that, but maybe I'll overshoot this a little bit more. A little bit less there. Let's look at that. And don't let it move for another few frames. So let's see that now. Sorry about that. Make sure we're still recording here. Okay. And let's see that now. Alright. And let's look at those lower lids. Let's overshoot those a little bit. And I don't think I want them to go so far. So I'm going to pull back a little bit. Overshoot here. All right. I feel like there might be a little too much close in that jaw here, or it's a little too slow or something. So let's hold it for a little bit longer and let it go. Everything we have here, set that. And set it there. So that stuff's moving a little bit at a different timing. See that now. So we got this first expression. So much of that. Do a little bit of a move there. And I think this grinding isn't really working so much, so let's scale that back down a little bit more. And even more. Now. Okay, so I think the beginning's working okay. Let's look at it now. Now, kind of feel like this might want to go a little bit lower here. So we like undershoot the move. still hold pretty tight with what we have here. We'll go down and up. Let's look at that now. There we go. It feels a little better. Okay. Now, we should come up with a better expression here. So, let's lock off. I feel like we got the beginning working okay. Again, not a ton that we can perfect completely in a 1 hour pass where we want to do everything on the face, but we got it working all right. So I like it up to about here. I want to come up with a new expression here. So take the translation shouldn't really start here. Another few frames. I like where the eyes are there. We'll delete that. Delete that. That's okay. This should be down more over here. Keep it pretty focused forward. Let's build this expression right here. This down. That up. That. Let's look at the eyelids here. That. Bring the mouth in a little bit tighter here. Try and bring the lip curls down, the corners there. Actually, maybe we'll bring that all down. Just translate one. And then we'll go over a little bit. I feel like that expression works pretty well. We'll push those up a little bit and sink in the cheeks a little bit more. But we got some good expression working there. I think that works alright. So we'll grab everything again. Really want to key all of this. So this is one of our main key facial expressions here. So we like where it is there. I feel like we have something okay at about 11. So I'm going to delete everything in between 11 and 27. So we know that we're getting in there. So I want to keep the mouth closed here, build in our breakdown. Let's push the jaw out a little bit here. Pull the lips down. And let's do a little bit of lip out like that. Try and shape that so we have something a little bit to work with. Maybe a little bit more open. And a little less lip. this is probably our best expression so far. This one we kind of just built from the ground up there too, so I think I'm going to take that into consideration when I'm doing the next one, rather than using kind of what we had before where we just put in some default ones to go with. So got that working there. Get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that, and give me a new expression here, which is going to be one of kind of just seething afterwards or something. So almost kind of a little bit expressionless with a little bit of grumble mixed in there. So not as intense, more of a subtle feeling to this one, where he's just overall a little bit tired from that attack that just happened. And let's move the eyes over here. And let's tilt the jaw a little bit this way. And look that way. Get a little bit of puff in the cheeks here. Okay, and we'll keep this, and then I think we'll do just a little bit of up and down in the jaw, a little bit of puff in the cheeks, another blink, and that should do it here. So I like this pose, I like that one. Okay. See, this is such a stronger pose than we originally had for a starting pose, so I'm glad we switched that. So we want to go back to this one. Get rid of that. This one we liked. Kind of like that pose too, but get rid of that. This, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, and get rid of that. And then we'll hold this stuff. Jump up there. Let's see. And I'll keep the eyes with the border here. Which one? This frame? That frame. Key all of those there. Delete that. Let's see. This down still, over. Excuse me. Jeez, got the sneezes today. Alright, so let's look at that. So, again, we're going to be looking at our camera angle, so we want kind of these poses to read here. So let's take a look. this I think I'm going to loosen up this jaw a little bit more, which I did, I think, on the last pass, but so just look at the movement of the jaw. So I do a little bit more down, a little bit more up, a little bit more down, so you get a little bounce in there. Okay, it's a little too slow and a little too much. So try to taper that off a little better. Let's see how that looks. I will be right back. Okay, where were we? Let's see. I think we could throw a quick blink in here too, just to keep the face alive while sticking really with the same position here. Just a quick one. So we'll hold that till about there. Get back. That's probably still too long. Okay, now in this case, I want to keep the jaw closed a little bit more. Just do another kind of breakdown here for how. And let's keep the lower lip. Try to keep the mouth closed a little bit longer. But not the actual rotation or anything, but just the lips closed. Show kind of the peeling of the mouth back open. Let's get that rotate here. You don't want it to look funky. Let's see. See how it peels apart a little better. And let's keep the kind of this pose here in the jaw a little bit longer. So just everything, we hold it a little bit longer here. Must be allergic to something right now. Okay. Now I do want to change this a little bit more. not sure that I love that yet. It's getting there. It's still got a ways to go. Right here. Key all of those and hold that for a lot longer. Gotta get rid of this one. That's fine. It's okay too. See that peel apart at the lips as the mouth opens back up. Let's look at the eyebrows. We'll go down a little bit on this blink here. Actually, I think I want to do one on there too. So hold the eyebrows up. Go down a little bit here. Going down. Up a little bit higher. There, so you go. Hold up there. Down a little bit here. Up a little bit. Back to where we were. Might be a little too extreme. So let's pull that back. Let's see. Yeah, that's way too much, so we just want a little bit of movement there. And on this one here, we'll keep the eyes there. There, but we will go down here just so that it doesn't feel like there's so much white in the eye there, and a little lid here. And let the eyes go down here as well. Feels better. And then, where's the rotates here? I'm going to do a puff out here, pull in there, puff out here, pull in here, puff out there. Okay, and let's look at that. Try and see how we can get that right. This should be where it's about puffed up most here. Down over about there. Here should go back up again. And there should be another extreme down. Get a little bit of breathing let's look at it from the view that we'll probably be shooting at. Let's see. I think we could play up the puff in the cheeks from here so that it might be readable from this angle here. So let's watch it now. I think that works, and then I wanted to touch up on the shoulders as well. Right. I think there's a portion. No, I guess we don't have too much lock off here. Except for on this one might lock off there. Right here, maybe it should go down a little bit. Try and keep the silhouette though. And right here should be probably higher. Maybe start it a little bit sooner. And this should be down here. Up. Set that, bring it back. Somewhere kind of like this. Keep playing around with that. Let's see. Let's change the view here a little bit. Here should be the utmost. Right. I'll throw a lot more here. Keep those, bring that back up a little bit. So we have a little bit looser shoulder there. Okay, let's watch it from this angle, see if it's too over exaggerated. Yeah, it feels a little over the top. So let's just scale everything back a little bit more, but that way it's not locked off from that shoulder. It felt like it was a little too stiff. Okay, let's see it now. feet again, see if there's anything else we want to do with the feet. I still feel like this foot could be a little bit better. Maybe start the ball roll a little bit sooner. Do a little bit of recoil there too. Just so that doesn't stiffen out too much. Yeah, let's see that now. Maybe a frame sooner and a little bit less. Just was feeling a little stiff in that heel, so let's look at it again. It's close. Just gotta find that sweet spot there. Yeah, let's look at that foot again. I think I want to tilt this foot up a little bit more. What was I using? Rotate. X a little bit more. Now again, we're really not going to see a whole lot of the facial expressions from this angle, but you can still kind of feel them since we really did some exaggerated facial expressions there. And something a little bit different. Normally we just do kind of more action shots or big movements. So it's kind of fun to do some facial expressions. Haven't done that for a little while. So let me know what you guys think. If we could have done some different stuff, we would have held stuff a little bit longer. But I think that'll wrap it up for this shot. Maybe we'll do a couple other things here. Just layout wise, create a new camera here. Just give us a different background. And what are we looking at for time? We're okay. Maybe we could go a little bit longer. Because I was also thinking about create polygon primitives. Let's do a cylinder here. Just a real quick prop here. It's probably too big. And let's punch it right in the middle here. Scale up, skip in. And I'll copy that. And I'll paste. Come on. And I'll paste another one. And we'll raise that one up. Scale it up a little bit. Bring it down. Alright. And then we'll get copy that, paste another one, bring that one up, and rotate it in Z here, 90 degrees. everything, and we'll parent them all together. And we'll move everything over here. And let's see. So let's frame our shot a little better. Now, I do want this to be a different color, assign a new material. Let's throw a Lambert on there. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a reddish color. Okay. I'm going to choose to kind of skip the contact frame here. So we got this one, set it there. This one, let's rotate it. Let's see. Alright, so I think what I'll do, skip this, go back a couple steps here. I'm going to take the insert here and move that back so it's on the end here. And hit insert again. We want this here. This one, go ahead and tip it back. Actually, hold on a second. I'll do it the right way. Here. Go to faces. And we'll delete everything on this bottom section here. That's fine. And I think we'll make it a little bit shorter here too. Should have thought about this before, but that's okay. Just a little bit shorter. And now let's go back to object mode and bring that back down to where we were here. Just keep it there. And this one, now we're going to rotate it back. Actually, let's not do that just yet. Let's delete that one. Because I want this to be right at the bottom here. So let's do back to object mode, or back to faces here. And actually, object mode, lift this back up here. Back to edges, bottom there. Move it up a little bit higher, make it a little bit shorter here. And see if that's about the right size. Still a little bit shorter. Like that. And go back to object mode, bring that back down here. Hit insert again so you can change where it's going to orient from. Move that to the back corner there. All the way. Okay, hit insert again. And key this one. This one will rotate it back here. Swing it forward. little slow on this one, so let's push it about 2 frames sooner. Let's see. Probably a little too extreme. And push it forward another frame. Let's see. Let's try to get one more here. Go forward a little bit. Now let's look at that now. So we've got 30 is a key, 40, 52, so we'll go 12 frames there. And we can go 14 frames from there, which would be 66, right? And 16 frames from there, which would be 72, 82. Yeah, let's try that now. And let's tone everything down just a little bit more because I'd like it to not feel like it abruptly stops so much. But I don't want to punch any more frames in there. One thing I might do is let this be a little bit further forward so we do get that contact. Probably could do a little more rotate here. That wouldn't change too much, right? Let's get that rotate Y here. Still be able to keep the keep that arc there. Let's see it now. Yeah, it still works. And that way we get that contact frame there. Let's see how I want to frame it here. something because we're intersecting with that plane too much. So let's turn our curves back on. Let's see just this one right here. Let's see if we can push that rotate X a little bit more. Just get in there and really tweak that curve a little bit more. And I think for this one, I want to assign a new material to that as well. And I'll just make it a little bit darker here. This ground plane, let's make it a little bit lighter. Actually, let's assign a new material to that. Itself so the sword stands out a little bit more. And let's see now. Just so that when we get frames like this, we'd still have not all the same color going on. So maybe even go to rendering editors, Hypershade, and look at Lambert 1, and make that a bit brighter here to stand out too, just so that when we get stuff like that, we got a little more variation here. I feel like it's a little bright though. Bring it down there. Alright, now let's turn our curves off again, hide everything, and let's take a look at this shot. I think I want to turn our camera a little bit more this way so that when we hit frames like resting frames here, we get a little better silhouette. Make sure our other stuff still reads pretty well. I'll try and keep the integrity of that one too. That's a good camera angle. So just a couple extra little tweaks that we threw in there just to kind of lay out our shot a little better so it would read a little more clearly. Added that other little prop in there too. I think it just adds something a little more fun so he has something that he's like attacking too. And let's see where we started at. We were looking at the beautiful work of Demizu Posuka, and you do not win in sleepiness. So try and find a sleep schedule that works for you, and when you're tired, you're not going to be creating the best stuff. But that doesn't mean to give up either, but it means that maybe try and focus your day so that you find when you have the most energy and enthusiasm for the work that you're working on, the things that are most important to you, and schedule your day through there. Which it seems kind of weird to talk about scheduling and energy and sleep and all that stuff, but I really think it plays into your creative abilities as well, because when you're tired, you really are not at your peak. You're not winning then. And same goes for sleep. You don't want to sleep too much because you miss out on potential things that you could be doing, and things that you could be learning and growing, and people that you could be meeting, and things that you could be practicing. And but you want to make sure that you get enough too, so that you're not too tired and sluggish, and it hinders your work as well. So figure out what works for you. I have no wonderful solution for it, but I think it's something to consider if you haven't already and you feel like you're kind of hitting one of those plateaus in your work, is that maybe focus your energies in the right place while you have the most potential energy to use as well. So I love you guys lots. Thanks for hanging out with me. I had fun doing this one with you. Let's see what we come up with for tomorrow. I think we'll stick with doing these longer frame ones where we do different parters. If If you guys want me to revert back to the other ones, let me know down in the comments below. And I think I'll still do it whenever a nice new fun rig comes out and I've got a good idea for it. But I think this style allows us to get into some other things that we can, if we just stick with trying to keep everything within an hour and a brand new rig. But this lets us do a little bit of facial stuff, a little bit more of acting beats in our shots as well. So I love you guys lots. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I think that'll wrap it up for this sword attack. You definitely spend another couple hours pushing it even more, but I think we got something workable that's got some acting beats and some good weight in there and everything too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.